just wanted to get your thoughts on Chelsea. First off, what have you made of Liam Rossinia's start?
Um, I got to say the appointment was an interesting one. It's a bold one, right from the very start. And I do think he's one heck of a tactical manager. I remember him at Hull, watching the way that they play was brilliant. But I think then going to Chelsea, it's a different ball game completely. And I think he's handling himself well. He's trying to be true to himself, which I think is always important. I always look at managers. You have to be who you are, and I think what we're seeing certainly from Liam, and is exactly that. He's got a big job because the pressure is intense. I think at Chelsea, they haven't really got time to wait a few months. You've got to start getting results kind of straight away. And he's got some talented boys. They've invested a lot of money, so he needs to kind of get it right. And I think he's going on the right lines for sure. So yeah, a positive start, but still work to do.
He's won 8 out of his first 11 games. Are you almost surprised at how well he's done? Because I think some people thought, they were unsure of his sort of profile, whether he was ready for the job coming in, but he has hit the ground running. Obviously, a win against Napoli away, and the only two losses have been against Arsenal. So, are you a bit surprised at how well he started?
I am in this respect of it's all about getting the players on board. Any sort of manager that comes in needs to buy into your ideas, and I think he's done that, pretty quickly, and that's vital. The results have come. I think even in some games though, I look at them and I'm thinking, wow, for 45 minutes they look like world beaters. Then the next 45, you're wondering where that team's gone. So I think that consistency is still not quite there yet. They're getting results, and every time you get a result, you get more buy-in from the players. So I think it was always about those big characters. So when you're managing in France, where he was, Strasbourg, when you're managing Hull, you're not managing Argentina's kind of second or third best player. You're not managing England's best player. These are different sort of levels and different characters, and that's where I think the question marks were. But what we've seen is that they bought into it. They look good. He's still mixing and matching in some positions and some players, but I think he's getting a real handle on things, and the players are enjoying it. Yeah, and those the results you mentioned, and he shows what's really good about the start and what's to come.
There were obviously some off the field issues which led to the departure of Enzo Maresca, and that's now, several managers that the new Chelsea ownership have been through since they took over. What have you sort of made of the decision, A, to get rid of Maresca, then again bring in another young manager? Do you see the vision that the ownership are going with? Do you agree with it?
I think I don't know. I played it in Europe, so I played for Torino in Italy. And the structure of way clubs are managed it was very different to an English football club. And as the years have progressed and decades have gone on, we've certainly we've evolved or going towards that European model. And now there's a lot of clubs that do that. So the manager doesn't control everything; the sporting director does, and then you then fit the bits in after that. So, and I think that's where the balance is. You've still got some managers that want to have more of a charge of overall footballing matters, and others are just the ones that are managing the team, the football on the pitch, and everything else is left to the sporting director. And there's lots of shades of grey in between that. And I think that's what you're seeing with Leroy Rossignol, in that he will work to the more modern way of doing things. And I think for some owners that works really well. Other owners, not so much. So I think clearly the Chelsea owners want to have a big say in things. They want to make sure, I suppose, that the consistency is there when they change manager. Everything doesn't go out the door with that manager. And we've seen that before, at numerous clubs. So I think Leroy Rossignol fits. I think they know from what he did on the continent in France that how he operates. And you can see clearly Maresca wanted a bit more, and there were problems ahead.
I mean, Rossini said a couple of days ago that he thinks Pedro Neto is world class, and that's generated some discussion and arguments amongst Chelsea fans. What's your take on that? Because people have different views on Neto. A lot of people think, he works really hard up and down the pitch. Some people think he lacks a bit of quality, but Rossini said he's world class. What do you think about Neto?
It's interesting. If I give you a highlights package of Pedro Neto, you'd say, yeah, he's world class. Problem is, it's trying to do that consistently over each and every game. And I think when you get to the world class bit, I think that's when you have a player that consistently, affects games in a positive way. Pedro Neto, I'm not sure he's quite quite there yet, but I do think he's got the ability, but it's that consistency. But we've seen a lot, haven't we, of players like that you look at them and you think, wow, they're incredible, but then it's the other bits they don't do, and then they go, they're not quite there in 2 or 3 games. And I think Neto isn't like that, but he has got. He can still improve, and he has got the ability to be, right up there and be a mainstay. But would I put him up there yet? No, not just yet.
And Cole Palmer's had a bit of a slow start to the season. He was obviously dealing with a few different injuries and wasn't perhaps playing his best. The last sort of 3, 4 games, few weeks, he looks like he's getting back to the level that we all know. What have you made of his season and the way that he's starting to play now?
Yeah, he's starting to be a little frightening again. Back in the time when he was scoring all those goals, he was just full of confidence. Clearly, he was fit, playing every game. And when you're talking about a world class kind of period of play in someone's career, that was it. I mean, he was just absolutely on fire. And you're right, he's had certain issues and injuries and what have you. So to come back and get more minutes, you can see all that coming back. And I actually was there when Chelsea played Leeds United, and we saw both spectrums there, because my goodness, when he dropped into the pocket, at times in that first half, he was just unstoppable. His receiving the ball on a half turn, his vision, he had everything, and you're thinking, okay, he's going to have a field day here. And that first half, he certainly did. Then second half, right at the end, of all the players to be 3 yards out with an open goal, you'd want Cole Palmer just to stick it away, and somehow he put it over the bar. So yeah, still a little rusty here and there. I couldn't believe my eyes. Either could Cole. I'm sure he must have had nightmares that night. But you're right. I think he's getting back to the player that we saw in that wonderful spell, and he's got the ability to go on and be one of the best. Absolutely. So it's good to see.
There was some debate whether he should have gone to the whether he should go to the World Cup with how he was playing a few games ago. Do you think the way that he's currently playing and what he can offer, do you think he's a certainty for England to get into the squad? Because obviously you got Bellingham, Morgan Rogers. Do you think he's still facing a bit of a battle, or do you think he should definitely be on the plane?
I think he's definitely on the plane. It's a battle, though, to get into that first 11 for sure. And it is all about now at their form between now and the end of the season. Simple as that. There's a lot of players itching to get on that plane. We've got some talent in that sort of area. And for me, Cole Palmer, he's got to be involved in the game. You've got to get him, in that middle of the pitch and get him in between the lines. And Morgan Rogers started the season incredibly well. Actually, he started quite poorly, and then he picked up and he's been playing extremely well. And Bellingham, with injuries, it's an interesting one, because it's not only the ability they've got, it's how they then fit into the team, it's how they fit into the squad, it's how going away and being with each and every player for like a 5-6 week period, the character. So there's a lot that goes into it, but quite simply, if Cole Palmer plays at his best, he's on that plane. Simple as that. And you have to get him involved.
And final question, Chelsea still in 3 competitions, obviously fifth in the Premier League, very close to the top 4, still in the FA Cup and into the latter stages of the Champions League. What do you think should be the goals for the end of the season? What should Chelsea be trying to achieve come May time?
I think clearly silverware in whatever kind of way it comes, it's always important, and that's what they'll be judged. They obviously have to get in the Champions League, and you have to have a piece of silverware, whatever that may be. And I think if they do that, that'll be success, because you can only see certainly Liam Rosenior getting better and better. The more experience that he gets, when he starts to really mould his team as he wants. I think there'll be okay. I've got a dog who's suddenly now crying. It's okay, Betty. Come here, up here. All right, steady on there then. Yeah, and I just think if you consider how quickly I think Rosenior learns and picks things up, wow, they really could be a force, because they've got the backing, they've got the finance, and they've already got some really good young players. So I think as a group, it's an exciting time. But as you know, it's not a case of being able to have a poor session, a poor season. They don't allow that at Chelsea. You've got to be up there on all fronts, and that's what they're doing. So yeah, I think Champions League and a piece of silver will be ideal.
Cheers, Tony. Thank you.
Lovely, no problems at all.